Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the Game Art Talk podcast. Lennard Claussen is my guest today. Hey, Lennard, happy to have you on the show.
Hi, thanks for the invitation, and I'm happy to be on the show.
So please give yourself a short introduction. Where are you from? What are you currently doing? I heard you're a senior CG consultant, so I'm pretty interested in what that is.
Yeah, so I'm Lennard, I'm 24, and I'm currently living in Hamburg, Germany, and I'm doing 3D since I would say 6, 7 years, but professionally since 5 years. And I'm mainly working as a freelancer, so since 2018 around. And I'm working for clients like Volkswagen, Netflix, IKEA, also some game companies like Shape Farm, Beyond Frames, Entertainment, etc. And what I mainly do is basically a mix of hands-on, like traditionally modeling, texturing, etc., and sometimes also consulting for pipeline stuff. Like if new studios like to build up their pipeline, like more and more studios are changing into let's say VR stuff, etc., and then the pipeline will change, and then they need someone who can basically help with that and build up their pipeline.
Okay, so you're not only on the art side, you're also more on the consultant side, where you tell like companies, I would do it this way, I would approach it with that workflow, etc. Right?
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I'm doing that or why it changed at some point in my career is that doing hands-on 3D is at the end the same thing, and I just wanted to test new things, and yeah, that's a thing I really enjoy, and yeah, it's a little bit different, but as I said, I'm also doing a lot of hands-on, so it's a nice balance between those two things.
Okay, yeah. Well, this is a kind of a cool mixture. Like you can also create your art, but also you can help other people's creating their art and getting better with the workflow and the production.
Yeah, and you're also learning new pipelines from other people, and then you can integrate them into your workflow. So it's a
Mhm.
win-win.
Yeah, this is cool. So let's speak about your work for a bit. When looking at your portfolio, I see mainly hard surface stuff, some materials, some. You also did some little scripts and plugins. But let's speak about your sub D modeling. When I take a look at some weapons like the sci-fi rifle, for example, they are pretty um, Wolfenstein inspired, but these are all high poly, right?
Yeah, so all of the work in my portfolio except two weapons are high poly, and
Hmm.
it's not only sub-D, it's a mixture of sub-D script stuff and also a lot of CAD modeling.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah,
So you're doing it with Fusion or with
yeah,
ZBrush? You
yeah,
with Fusion.
mainly Fusion, since it's just quicker than modeling sub-D. And yeah, since I worked in different industries where CAD modeling is preferred, I integrated it into my, I would say, more creative work.
Oh, okay. Okay. So yeah, maybe if you could walk us through the texturing of a sub-D model, because I never really read about it, or I never watched a tutorial how I would like texture a super high poly model that you have in your portfolio. Maybe you can give us a short run through.
Yeah, so if I would texture a clean sub-D model, the obviously the most important thing is that your UVs need to be perfectly, and if you smooth your model, the UV shells will travel a bit. So it's important that you
Mm.
distribute your poly workflow good. Then basically you're working with the ULIM workflow. So you have a lot of different UV tiles, so you get the resolution you want for a high resolution model. And then it's more or less the same texturing workflow as for games, but without normal baking. If you would texture model which is built in CAD or with custom script cram, like for example hard mesh, you can't do clean UV unwraps. So there I'm using automatic mapping. I go totally brute force, and then I also texture it in the regular way in Substance. But then you need a good PC for that, because
Yeah,
you're wasting a lot of UV resolution.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so you're not really baking any normal map, but you're taking some other textures that come on hand, like the curvature or the EAO for
Yeah, right.
like
I just bake the high on the high, and then I
yeah,
have
yeah.
my maps. And they, since it's a high poly model and all edges are smoothed, the maps are pretty clean, so it's easy to texture with. But except if you have a lot of UV cuts, then you need to fix a lot by hand. Or what I do, if I just create images, I just use Photoshop in the final rendering and remove UV cuts. But
Okay.
it's not a
Okay.
thing you would do for production, obviously. But if
No.
it's just for an image, it works.
Okay. Okay. So, as you already said in your introduction, you are diving into like different areas of CGI. You're going into games. You kind of did something for movie, for visualization, also for automotive companies. Um, so, how was it for you to kind of go into all these different areas, and what maybe have they in common, and what things are completely different?
I mean, there's a big difference between, let's say, automotive and games.
Hmm.
What they all have in common is it's the same technology. And also now, since VR is a big thing for automotive companies and visualization companies, so my main motivation to go in a different direction was, I would say, fear of the games company, because I don't know why it was that way. I had fear of baking normal maps. I had fear of optimization, etc. So yeah, it was a move out of fear to go in those different areas. So my first thing was basically architecture, and it's just CAD modeling and then render with V-Ray. Yeah, then I thought I want to go more in the creative direction, and then I learned all the necessary things, and I felt good. So I moved into games, and then I noticed, oh, those things I learned in architecture and automotive, etc. I can use them for games, like composition, like building quicker high polys through CAD modeling, etc.
Hmm.
And then I noticed, okay, if I switch industries over and over again, my skill set will get better.
Yeah.
And if I now look back, I get good gigs in all industries I really like. I can do what I love, and that's only because I learned so many different things. So yeah, it was not planned, but I would do that the same way over and over again.
Okay. Okay. Well, this is kind of interesting because in this podcast, I mostly have like real hard specialists. Like I have uh, I have guys or girls on the podcast that are just doing props or they are just doing weapons, and they really really get good at these specific task or this specific work. And now I hear from your side, I only have that many jobs, or I only landed that many jobs because I have such a broad horizon. I learned so many different skill sets, and now I can apply them throughout the industries. So this is pretty interesting.
Yeah, and I would also say the thing is, if you do, let's say, props from a concept over and over again, I think it will take a long time until you get how proportions work and how to create a final render image with color grading, etc. Because you will never learn it in the production, because you will just create the prop and texture the prop, but you will not understand the whole process. And then you need to dive into different things. And sure, you can do it through your portfolio, or you can just say, okay, I'm going to, I don't know, Volkswagen or something like that, and I have no plan how it works, but I will learn it, and then I will go back into games, and then I have a much broader skill set. Um, I think there are many ways to learn that stuff. My way was just moving into different industries because I don't know, in production I learn much better than doing portfolio stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So, how was it for you to kind of switch industries? You started like being afraid of the games industry because, like in Germany, there are not that many companies. It's hard to land a job in art, and so how was it for you? Like in the beginning, have you been afraid of these different industries, like moving to automotive, where there are lots of people, they have really old workflows, or yeah, maybe can speak about that experience for a bit.
Yeah, I would say I was, yeah, before every gig much afraid. I also had moments where I cried in the evening because I thought I can't do that. I can't be a good 3D artist, etc.
Hmm.
Um, but I think, yeah, once I started to learn, and once I figured out that failures are so important, because what I basically do, I iterate myself every day. I get just better every day through the failures I have. So, and if I don't have a plan about, I don't know, building or modeling cars, and then I fail 10 times, then the 11th time it will be better. And then I got to a point where it just worked. Um, and I would say, yeah, in the beginning, if you switch a lot, and every time you have something new, and you need to figure out how the team works, how the company works, um, it's not that easy. But if you've done it multiple times and you know how onboarding works, how different workflows work, etc., then it's like, I don't know, drinking water, and
Hmm.
then it's just fun to do new things and learn more and work on cool things.
Okay, so how long have you been freelancing, Leonard?
Um, so since 2019 full time, since 2018, yeah, there I started, but it was at the site. Yeah, and since May, no, yeah, May 2019 full time.
Okay, so is the reason why you're freelancing because you want to work on such or in that different industries, or how come?
I would say the main reason is I'm not able to work in a full time employment. Because of certain things. I'm just not compatible with yeah, how full time employment works.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, for example, so what I say is I'm more effective in 2 hours than in 8 hours, but I need to work 8 hours because I need to do it in a full time employment, and I don't know, that leads just to a crisis in my head, basically.
Hmm.
And since I'm working as a freelancer every day, how no matter how hard it is, it's, yeah, it's fun for me. And that was basically the main reason to switch. And
Okay.
of course, money things, etc. also.
Yeah, yeah. So you would say that you are not the right person for a 8 hour full-time job in a company?
I mean, I have days where I work 16 hours, but
Hmm.
I can choose to work 16 hours. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um, before I start a project with the client, I talk to the client, and we figure out how much work they need, what they need in general, for the delivery, etc. And then we figure out how much I need to work. And if I can get the job done in 2 hours, than in 8 hours, then it works.
Hmm.
I mean, at the end, the yeah, the thing I've created counts, and if it's good, then it's good. It doesn't matter how many hours I need to work on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I started freelancing like for full time now 2 months ago, and this was also the reason why, like, kinda. like having the choice of working these 16 hours you said, or maybe just working 4 hours, but getting as much done as possible on this 4 hours.
Yeah.
So
And I mean, it's also, I think it's just a bit healthier if you can decide what you want to work on, when do you want to work, and you can also decide how much money you want to make. This is basically financial freedom for me. I'm not saying that a full-time employment is bad. For me, a
no, no, no.
full-time employment was super important to learn the basics and how to navigate in the industry. And I also think that yeah, it's a different thing to work as a freelancer because it's much more risky. I mean,
Yeah,
you have to pay a lot, and sometimes you sit there in the evening and you don't know how to buy food in the next month or so. Especially since we have Corona, the situation changed, and I think for some people it's not the right choice to make. And you also can make a lot of money in a full-time employment.
sure,
It,
sure.
it just depends on your way of life, your lifestyle, and yeah,
But it's never that secure in a like in a full-time environment.
yeah.
You always have to make sure you have like gigs coming up, or if there are no gigs, you have to have money on the side to like live from that. If there are no gigs, just keep on going.
Right. I mean, let's say you get from a client, I don't know, 8K or something like that. And yet then you think, okay, I can buy a new TV, I can buy a new computer, and then I can uh, shop food for, I don't know, 2,000 euros or something like that. But you can't do it because you have to pay taxes, you have to pay for your software, etc.
Insurances,
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So there are a lot of things to keep in mind, and I can tell by myself. So I wasted so much money, and then I noticed I don't have much money anymore, and I can't pay the stuff I need to pay for. And then
Mhm.
you basically have a problem, and you need to find a gig or 2 gigs or 3 gigs. And I think you need, yeah, to be aware of these things before starting into that adventure.
Sure, for sure. So how do you find new gigs? Are clients contacting you? Are you contacting clients, or are you in forums or in like marketplaces for jobs? How do you like get the new jobs?
It depends. So what I noticed, most of the gigs are available in the beginning of the year. I think because then the budget is there. So
Hmm.
January, February, also a bit of March, clients come to me most of the time. So then, as of June until I don't know November, there is basically no one coming to me. Then I need to reach out to clients, or also clients I already have. Most of the time, there is already work, and now I have the situation that I have to decline a lot of contracts because I don't have time anymore. So in the
Hmm.
beginning, it was a lot of reaching out. Yeah, networking. So networking is the most important thing as a freelancer because most of the time there is no freelance gig on the company side on the career page. So you need to reach out to people, and yeah, and then build up the portfolio. If your portfolio is good, you will get gigs. If your portfolio is bad, you will not get gigs. And often I see people asking, why can't I get a job? Why can't I
Hmm.
get a freelance gig? And the reason is just that the portfolio doesn't fit the company, or it's just too bad. And how do you get the gig? You get better and publish better work, and then the gigs will follow. And of
Okay.
course, Instagram, ArtStation, etc., LinkedIn. Yeah, that's a thing to keep
Is
in mind.
is Instagram that popular when it comes to freelancing gigs? I never heard about that.
I mean, I would say it depends. For me, not that much because currently I'm not doing much on Instagram. I like to do it in the future more, but let's look at people like, for example, Beeple or something like that.
Hmm.
If you have 1 or 2 million followers or something like that, people will reach out to you because it's the largest social network. It's much larger than ArtStation. And it's easier to access Instagram because if you compare the ArtStation mobile site and the Instagram app site,
Mhm.
um, yeah, Instagram is much easier to navigate, and there are just more people. So I would say Instagram is an important thing, but it's also a different way to interact in Instagram than on ArtStation, for example.
Yeah, I think it definitely is. Well, also Instagram is kinda doesn't have that professional feel. Maybe like on link, maybe like you have it on LinkedIn or ArtStation, but yeah, I think you can get way more audience there.
Yeah, right. And I mean, yeah, what does professional mean? I think our jobs is not that professional at all because at
Yeah,
the end we are doing art for normal people who are watching TV or playing a game, and I'm not sure
yeah,
if it's that professional at all.
yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, 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 yeah. So as being a freelancer, it's always hard to stay motivated and always to get better. So, Leonard, what keeps you motivated? What makes you get better or get up each day and trying to get the most out of it?
Um, I would say it's about a deep feeling I have. So I ask myself, what is the purpose of my life? And I
Hmm.
figured out the purpose of my life is using my potential and reaching the max potential I have, and see what can I achieve with that. And so, for example, a lot of people say, I like to do this and that, and I want to achieve that, or they look back at their life and say, it would be cool if I have done that and that. And that's a feeling I don't want to have. If I want to have something like, I don't know, like living 2 months in New York or something like that, then I will do everything to get that. And I mean, at the end, it's about being happy in life, and you have to do something to be happy because you will get nothing by complaining or doing nothing. You have to do something, and yeah, I mean, um, it just makes me happy if I see a client like Netflix in my CV and see
Hmm.
a movie I worked on the TV, and yeah, seeing looking back at my journey and getting better every day. I don't know the end goal. I don't know what the end goal is, but for me, it's just getting better and reaching the max potential I can reach. Um,
Okay.
yeah, and it's also that being happy thing. If I want to have something, I need to do something for it, and it works at the end. So if you want to have a cool car, you need to make a certain amount of money, but you can make it if you work every day, and that's a feeling at the end you get. That's basically a drug rush, I would say.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
like the time. For that Netflix production, the folks reached out to me. It was like winning in the lottery or something like that. And I want to have it over and over again.
Yeah, like getting the email in the inbox where they say, "Oh, we want you to work for us." This is like, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, because I still think I'm so bad. There are a ton of folks which are better than me, and then they are reaching out to me and telling me, "Yeah, we want this and that, and your weight is perfect." And I think, what the fuck is going on?
yeah, yeah. And I think you spoke about the car before. It always feels better when you worked really hard for it. Like
Yeah, yeah,
it when you really earned it, when you really earned it, it doesn't have to be a car. It can be like a Netflix gig as well. Nothing material, but also like working on a game that you really really like, or like a movie that you really really love, which has been in your childhood or something. Um, this is like the best feeling. I think it even feels better than buying a car you really wish.
Yeah, I mean, it. I don't know how to describe it. It feels like you've done something with your life, basically. Because if you just, yeah, work every day on, I don't know, um, on a normal job, I would say, then basically nothing will change from day to day. It's over and over again the same. But if you're working on a thing which will be published and the whole world can see it, then it feels like you've done something for the people on the earth because they have a good time. And yeah, it feels amazing.
Yeah. So you would definitely say that having a good mindset is pretty important in our job, right?
Yeah, I mean, I always tell my friends, if you don't love yourself or don't like yourself, how can you expect that other people love you or like you? They can't. You need to yeah, be be okay
With yourself.
with yourself, with your life, and say, I I do good stuff on an everyday basis, and then other people will notice, and it's a completely different energy than to just say every day, "Oh, my life is bad, and the whole world is bad, and everything is bad, and I don't know, I can't get anything done, and everybody hates me, etc." Yeah,
Mhm.
then nothing will change. You have to change yourself, and then everything around you will also change.
Yeah. So, what are your future plans? Like, you were speaking of that, like having a goal or having a vision. So, what is your vision for yourself? I know this is a stupid question. Like, where do you see yourself in 10 years? But
Yeah.
um, how would you wish for your future self to develop further?
I mean, I would say my focus changed a bit in the last year. So my main focus was always get the next big gig, get more money, get better at everything. But now it changed a bit to have a balance in the life. So family is pretty important for me, and yeah. Visiting new places in the world, etc. But on the career side, I would say sooner or later build something like a own IP maybe. But for now, it's just yeah getting better in a lot of areas to be a more complete artist.
Hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. It's like an adventure, and I will see. But yeah, the balance in the life is right now the most important thing, because I had times where everything was a bit too much, and the feeling you have after that isn't that great. And yeah, then you notice you need to change a few things. And what I now notice, I'm more effective than ever. I feel like Hike sometimes. And yeah, it's now the focus is just getting all I want from life.
Okay, so you would say, like the most important thing for you now is having a good work life balance.
Yeah, because at the end, well, what's important in life? It's important to be happy in life and to do things you want in life. And it's not all just about work. Even if work is fun, it's at the end work. And if you have the right balance, I think it works better.
Yeah, yeah, you're completely right. Yeah. All right, Leonard. I think we had a pretty cool talk about like all the freelancing stuff, but also like on the mindset side. Um, let's speak about some of your technical side. So, when it comes to sub modeling, how do you start? Are you starting with a rough blockout, or what are you doing? Like, let's speak about your weapon, for example. How was your workflow when it comes to the modeling?
I mean, it depends. let's say I'm creating a portfolio piece. I'm doing a rough blockout, but it's really pretty rough. It's just some cubes and cylinders, and then I'm starting in one area with yeah, a lot of details, and then I'm just building on from that and testing new shapes and testing the silhouette. I'm also changing a lot, like I'm throwing most of the stuff away and then modeling again so it's clean. But so I usually don't work from a block out, then high poly and so on. It's a forth and back. It depends always. In the production, of course, most of the time there is already a block out in place, and then you work from that.
Okay, so you would say that having a clean workflow and a clean edge flow is the most important thing when it comes to sub-D modeling.
Yeah, I mean, when if you're working for a game and you just need the model to bake, you don't have to model in sub-D at all because it
Yeah,
doesn't matter. You just need the shading. But if you want to showcase a sub-D model in your portfolio to get a VFX gig or something like that, then you need to model clean. And also, if you model a clean mesh, it's easier to change things later on because if you use plugins like, for example, hard mesh, etc., then you can throw your model away because you can't change it anymore at the end.
yeah, yeah,
So I would say the key is always to work clean, also in your texturing and low poly process, because going back at the end to an early stage is pain.
yeah. It always is pain, and it always like brings up even new problems.
Yeah, yeah. Especially if you have to rebake stuff,
Oh
and
God,
and it's just pain.
yeah. So make sure you have your stuff ready before texturing or rendering your weapons.
Yeah, and you also have to save different versions during the process, so you
Mm.
can always go back to stages.
Yeah, yeah. That's super true.
And especially if you're working as a freelancer, because if you're losing your model and you only have one file, you're not making money at all.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Exactly, exactly. All right, Leonard. Thank you so much for being my guest today. I think you gave us a pretty cool overview over your workflow, over your mindset, and also how you started your freelancing and how you handle your jobs.
Yeah, thanks for the chat. I really appreciate it.
And I will put all your information in the info box, and people should check out your portfolio. It's pretty big, and you have lots of cool projects in there. So,
Thanks
guys,
a
check
lot.
Leonard out and take care.
You too.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.